If you take pride in owning the very best, then you've just made an excellent decision. You've acquired a Range Rover, the finest four-wheel drive sport utility vehicle in the world. Range Rover is an authentic 4x4.
I've just had a brilliant idea.
Land Rover, which is dedicated to manufacturing only four-wheel drive vehicles.
So what appears to have happened is that I've exchanged some money with a man from Sligo, and I've ended up with quite possibly the most ill-advised project car in the world. This, my friends, is a 1998 Range Rover 2.5 DSE, otherwise known as a P38. Now the P38 has really been in the doldrums for years when it comes to desirability and values in the classified market. But I reckon that the times are changing and that now is the time for the P38 to have its second coming. This one, resplendent in its Epsom green metallic paint, is now unbelievably 24 years old. I can't believe that it's 24 years old. For some reason, in my head, the P38 is still a 10-year-old car, but that's just not the case anymore. That means by some definitions, the P38 is actually a classic car now, and I reckon it's at least a modern classic. In the UK, there are now more P38s sawned, as in they've been taken off the road, than there are actually on the road and registered. If we take this particular spec, the 2.5 DSE automatic, from a height of over 5,000 cars back in the year 2000, there's now less than 1,000 still on the road. Whereas you used to see P38s plying up and down the motorways of the UK and working for a living in the countryside, they now come in something more of a rarer sight to see on British roads. And they have now been superseded 3 times with a new model, so it's not really surprising. So let's talk a little bit about this particular car. As you can no doubt see from all the B-roll my future self has edited in, this P38 is in quite possibly the best colour combination for any P38 that you could get, in my opinion. A nice, subtle, understated Epsom green metallic on the outside, on top of this awesome tan leather interior that is just the most 90s thing I've ever seen, I think. I absolutely love it. Just look at these door cards and this tan carpet everywhere, it's amazing. It's actually what drew me to the car in the first place when I saw it on Facebook Marketplace. The vast majority of these cars had kind of grey, cream or black leather like most vehicles, but this tan interior is a much rarer option, and I think it actually makes this car seem a lot older than it really is. I'd take this colour combination any day of the week over that black and ivory I've got on the L322 behind me. In terms of specs, she's fitted with the venerable BMW M51, which is a 2.5 litre straight-six turbocharged engine, straight out of a 5 Series of the same sort of era. And as great as a power plant as that is, P38 diesel does have a bit of a reputation as being a bit of a slug. With only 134 brake horsepower and 270 newton meters of torque, the little 2.5 was always going to be up against it in a big bruiser of a car like the P38. However, from previous experience of owning one of these cars about 10 years ago, it's definitely adequate, and compared to the 300 TDI Discoveries that I owned in the past as well, they actually feel alright, they feel perfectly fine on the road. Behind the M51 is this old school ZF 4HP22 transmission. Yeah, that's right, 4 speeds was pretty typical for the time, and it's exactly half the speeds we've got on the L322 behind us, as well as about half the power and half the torque. It's amazing how far we've come in about 10 years. In terms of equipment, the P38 was amazingly well equipped for its day. Electronic air suspension, ABS, traction control, dual zone climate control, all of which is now broken of course, but for the time it was an amazingly well equipped car. So yeah, there's going to be plenty to keep me busy on this car for sure. On the inside here, the leather is in pretty good condition overall, but there of course are some things to sort out. Some person in the past has stuck fake wood stickers all over the dashboard and the vents, which will need to come off. The pillars have all lost their flocking, as basically every P38 has at this time. And it of course has the standard disgusting sagging headliner that we're going to need to sort out as well. Apart from that though, it's pretty much complete with the exception of this radio, and it's still a really nice comfortable place to sit. These seats are some of the best seats Land Rover ever made, I reckon. Under the bonnet, it doesn't look too bad. It's missing a fan cowl, and at the moment it's making a terrible noise. And that noise, I'm pretty sure, is caused by the crankshaft damper. On these they have like a metallastic damper which separates the drive belts from the engine crankshaft rotation, and it's meant to make the engine a bit quieter. But on this one the metallastic damper has failed completely, so those two parts of the damper are just slapping around against each other, making that horrible racket. We also have a faulty alternator, as the dashboard keeps telling me. The battery's not charging, so it could be the cause of quite a few of the electrical gremlins on this car. Like the L322, these cars are very sensitive to low battery voltage, so if we can get that alternator sorted early on, it might help us sort a lot of these gremlins out. Luckily, it came with a spare alternator, but just to be on the safe side, I've sent it off to be refurbed. So we'll be throwing a nice refurbed alternator on as one of the first jobs on this car. Overall though, I'm absolutely chuffed with this car, and I can't believe how retro it feels in comparison to the L322. 10 years ago when I owned one of these cars, it felt relatively modern to me, and I can't believe just how much of a retro classic it feels now, especially in comparison to the L322. Time moves on though, and I actually reckon the P38 does have a very good future ahead of it as a modern classic. And I think with a bit of love and attention, this car could be made back into a usable modern classic vehicle again. So yeah, my plan with this series really is to restore this P38 back to full working order. That's mechanical problems, electrical problems, and of course cosmetic problems as well. And I think, as I said a minute ago, it will make an amazing modern classic that you can use daily. Even today, these make a really useful vehicle when they're in good condition. They can still tow, they can still cover great distances in excellent comfort, and they're just a really nice usable vehicle all round. Now this endeavour is not something you would do as a get-rich-quick scheme. While P38 values have risen a little bit from their absolute low that they were at a couple of years ago, they're still not exactly what you'd call desirable in terms of their values. So it's very unlikely I'm actually going to be able to turn a profit from this car when you take into account all of the parts it needs, as well as all the time I've got to put into making it right. Profit, of course, isn't the reason that I'm doing this. As I've explained, I think this car deserves to be saved. I think especially in this colour combination, it's something you're going to really not see so much in the future as more and more of them disappear. So apart from the fact that I've really hankered after a P38 for years after selling mine, I really think this car needs to be saved, and that's what my plan is for this video series. So to that end, as well as launching the restoration of this P38 in this video, I'm also going to be launching a range of Sam's Motor Machine merchandise. Now so far I've resisted from doing this because I wanted to make sure that my designs that I was going to come out with were good and that they were actually something that I'd want to buy myself if I saw them, rather than just chucking my logo on a t-shirt and then flogging it. So I've done a few different designs, some featuring the L322, some featuring the 130, and I've actually done a couple more featuring this P38 Range Rover as well. My favourite one that I've done for the P38 is one that's inspired by a meme that I saw actually recently, and it's this kind of 90s themed let me die thing going on where the P38 is begging to be killed, but we just won't let it happen. We're not going to let the P38 die. But there are other more simple designs as well, just featuring the Range Rover with a slogan and things like that, and hopefully they're aesthetically pleasing enough that you guys will want to place an order. So if you do like any of these designs and you feel like supporting the channel and supporting the restoration of the P38, there's a link down below to my Teespring account where you guys can go and check out all the designs on there. There's lots of different products on there as well, and you can get them any sort of colour you want as well. Things like t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, basically anything you name it, it's on there. And with each purchase you make, a small amount of commission will come from that and go to the channel, where it will help support this P38 restoration and other projects I've got on the go as well at the same time. And secondly, in addition to that, I've finally caved in and made a Patreon account for the channel. Now most of you probably know what Patreon is, but for those who don't, it's a platform where you guys can pledge a small amount of money each month or per video that will go towards the channel and really help projects like this become a big success. You guys all know how expensive projects like this are. It's really a labour of love for me, and hopefully, you know, it's going to make some great content for you guys as well. But if you feel like you want to help support the channel and you feel like you can afford to give a bit of money each month, it'll be hugely appreciated by the channel. And as I said, projects like this and future projects will benefit greatly from a bit more cash to play with, basically. I must point out though, this is completely optional and you mustn't feel pressured to give any money if you don't want to, if you can't afford it. Or if you don't think the content's worth any money, then that's perfectly fine too. But if you do feel like you want to show your support, there will be a range of benefits and bonuses that I will set up on the Patreon website as well. So if you head over to that website, you can see what those bonuses are now. Anyway, with that out of the way, here's some footage from yesterday where I actually went and grabbed some parts for the first lot of repairs on the Range Rover. So I'll catch you guys in a bit. So today guys, we're actually on a bit of an adventure. We're on our way to go and get some parts for the P38, and the place I'm going is actually the place I've just bought this project car from. It's from the same guy up in Sligo. Now this guy actually runs a P38 as his daily driver, and like any sensible Range Rover driver, he's got a few spares lying around. So he's actually got about 5 or 6 different P38s in various states of disrepair that he uses for parts. So he's got lots of bits. So I've got a list of parts that I need to get for the Range Rover. It will probably be just the first of many lists, but this first list will just be sort of enough to get us going and enough to fix those initial few problems that I've found. Now, as this guy's a very busy man, I'm heading up myself. I've got tools in the back and a pair of overalls, and I'm actually going to be taking off the parts myself, unless they've been taken off already, I'm not sure. But we're equipped to do so if we need to. So anyway, I've got about an hour and a half until I get there, so I'll pick you guys up when we get there. P38 heaven, guys. Right. So this is going to be the one we're going to take a few bits off of to start off with. I need this fan cowl, I need the fan, and if you guys can see down there, I need that crank pulley as well. I'm also thinking I'm going to take this aluminium intake pipe as well, intake manifold, because that'd be a nice upgrade from my plastic one. Maybe we can polish the rocker cover and the intake manifold up a bit. Anyway, we're going to start by trying to get this fan and fan cowl out. Let's get that power steering reservoir off next, I reckon. Beautiful day here, guys. Absolutely lovely day to be fiddling with P38s. Let's get this little washer bottle off. Well, the washer bottle filler neck anyway. You know what, I'm actually going to take all these little bolts I'm taking out here, because you know what it's like when you're working on a car and you haven't got the right fixings. So we're definitely going to save a few of these. I'm sure Anton won't mind. That was easy. Should spin off now. Clockwise spinning this to get it off, because it is a left-hand thread. There we go. Right, let's got to see if we can pull out the whole cowl and fan together now. Hopefully there's nothing too much blocking it. There we go. So that's the first part we need, or first two parts. That should be alright, that'll clean up alright. There's 3 parts actually, going to take that as well. The fan I'm probably not going to take because it's got a brand new one on it, but might see how much he wants for it. Right, so have we now got enough space? Not really. What I wanted to do is be able to get my impact gun on the 6 bolts that hold this crank pulley on. Yeah, if we take out this whole rad pack and this centre panel here, that's going to make our job a lot easier. So I think what I'm going to do now is get my impact on those bolts down there, which look like 17s. 17s. Oh, it's a nut and bolt. It's an absolutely beautiful day, guys. And you guys can see that, but great day to be out working on an old truck like this. I reckon we razz off these guys now, these 13s. Probably do that with a little impact. God, these cars are so easy to work on. I love it. That sort of panel just sort of comes off with 4 bolts, nice and easy. And then we got access to our fans. That's for your air conditioning there, intercooler, radiator, and the whole pack lifts out as one as well. If we can make sure we get all the fixings off, that will definitely help though. And there's 2 aircon pipes down here we're going to need to take off. Sprayed oil everywhere. That was clever. Okay, it's both oil cooler pipes off. Let's have a look inside this thing, see if there's any bits in here that we need. That gator is as bad as mine, so that's probably no good. This switch panel on mine, I think it's probably okay. It's not working at the moment, but it might be caused by something else, so it's probably okay. We've got some nice leather seats, but don't need those. I'm gonna have to look to see if this car has a exhaust centre section on it still. That would be a no. There's not much under here.
Just as a quick note here, this is one of the reasons that people, including Anton actually, absolutely love P38s. Look at that chassis rail. That's original factory paint on it from over 25 years ago. Show me another Land Rover model that has that.
There's a few bits in this car I'm looking at. Firstly, this radio, nice original radio. And then we've got this climate control unit with a nice complete knob. Probably gonna try and take the whole unit, just because hopefully the bulbs in this one are good. I can't check it obviously, but that would save me from replacing the bulbs for the LCD screen. And then also this gator on the gear stick is actually in really nice condition as well. So I'll try and get that as well. So I'll try and remember how you take this off the stick. that's the gator, really nice condition. Yeah, the switch panel on mine is actually wood covered, so it looks a bit nicer than this one, but maybe we can just transfer this. Right, next, let's see if we can get this surround out. I think my car's got a wooden surround. Try and find some pictures, see if I can see what my wood is like on the dash. But I do need that though as well. Yeah, it's one wing. So here we are guys, we're back from Anton's. We've got a big bootload of goodies for the Range Rover. As I said, there'll probably be lots of trips like this where I'm going up and down to Anton's to get bits and bobs, but yeah, this will keep us busy for the first while anyway. Firstly, most important thing I've got so far probably is this crank damper. As I said, this is the part that's causing that horrible noise on the Range Rover at the moment. You can see here there's these two parts here. As I said, these are kind of just slapping against each other at the moment, so it's actually a really nice easy job to replace this as well, so that's good. Secondly, this isn't really a repair as such, it's more of an upgrade. This is actually off of the early M51 engine that was fitted to the pre-facelift Range Rover, and as you can see it's aluminium as opposed to plastic. It has this awesome BMW badge stamped into the top here, and my plan with this is to really clean it up, possibly polish it, and even paint the top of it here and sand off this detail to make it really look something special under the bonnet. As I said, not really a necessary upgrade, but it's a nice thing to have, and I think it will look awesome under the bonnet of the Range Rover. I also grabbed a fan cowl from the same car as you guys saw. My car, for whatever reason, is missing that fan cowl. It just wasn't put back on again at some point in the past. And also grabbed a load of smaller bits as well. We grabbed a nice gearbox surround there in a nice bit of walnut trim, which will be a nice improvement. My one's had a sticker on it and it looks pretty terrible. And also this came with a cigarette lighter, which mine is missing again for some reason. Next up, I actually grabbed a whole HVAC unit from one of Anton's cars, and as you guys saw, my auto and fan speed button is actually missing on my car. It's not very easy to replace, so instead of fiddling around with that, I just thought I'll replace the whole unit. Also, hopefully this screen is a bit brighter than mine, because mine's missing the backlight, which means you can't really read anything on the screen, so that'll be a nice straight swap, and it'll tidy up the interior a bit. Next up, I grabbed this awesome original head unit for the Range Rover. This is the OEM one that would have been fitted originally. It's not that long ago that we were all ripping these out and throwing them away in favour of like a Pioneer, you know, something with a CD player or Bluetooth, something like that. But I think now, when this car's becoming sort of a modern classic, having the original radio in there is definitely going to be a plus. It'll make the interior look complete and kind of original. Obviously tapes aren't much used these days really, although I probably will try and buy some to use it, but we might look at doing maybe like a Bluetooth mod, like a stealthy Bluetooth mod or something to this. I'm sure there's something out there on the internet that we can do to make it a bit more modern, but at the same time keeping this classic look. I also grabbed a replacement gear stick and gator. These guys are in really nice condition compared to mine. It's just something that really wears out on the P38s over time, so that'll neaten up the interior no end. And then finally I grabbed this second-hand tailgate release button off of Anton as well, because it's a really common failure on the P38. I also picked up two of these motors for the headlamp wipers. Now, headlamp wipers are a feature that have completely disappeared from most modern cars, and when you see them on modern classics like the P38, it's really awesome. I think they look so cool. So So I really want to get them working. That's one of my objectives for this rebuild. So I picked up these 2 motors from Anton as well. He threw them in just in case we need them to get them working. I also picked up this replacement wing, which is actually in the exact right colour for my car. As you guys will have seen from the B-roll, there's a big gouge and a deep dent on the wing on my car. So this is a nice, easy replacement. It's not exactly perfect itself. There are some marks, but it's definitely a lot better. So from me and the Range Rovers, that's going to be it for now, guys. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this new purchase I've made here.
And make sure you come back next week, as I'm going to be doing a deep dive into all the P38's problems and going into my plans in a lot more detail. Cheers for watching, guys.